And now I'm excited to say this. We have the Global Director of Training and Coaching for Ironman on a call with us today. His name, Earl Walton. You can see him up in the upper left of your screen. Earl, so good to see you. Can't wait to hear your insights. How are you, my friend?
I am great. I couldn't be better watching this race. This is amazing. Amazing to watch. You guys are doing a great job out there.
And what's your take on the action so far? What are your thoughts? Any surprises, or would you have scripted this yourself?
You know, it's so much fun to watch this race. There couldn't be a better way to kind of be getting back into racing than this type of race. You know, the excitement around the men's race, I think the guys have done a good job of hyping this up. You know, Lionel and Sam making it fun, keeping us going. I've been watching Cody Beals since, I think it was 3 or 4 years ago. He won what was probably one of the hottest races that I'd ever coached athletes for at our Eagleman 70.3, and he won it with a really great heat protocol. So I'm keeping my eye on Cody throughout the race. He may be back a little bit now, but we might see him come back.
It's as if you read my mind, Earl, because it is going to be a really hot race today. And you mentioned the heat that Cody was able to tackle at Eagleman all those years ago. With summer races coming up, tell me, how important is it to train in the heat, and what are some of the tips you have for athletes who may be headed to a hot race but don't have exposure to to that kind of heat, at home where they train?
Yeah, I mean, this is a great example of it, and it'll be interesting to see how the day pans out. There's two comments that you guys made earlier, and I think that were really important. It was the idea of how do you look for the signs? I think, Michael, you had mentioned that, and then, pivot during the race. So a lot of the training in the heat, it's important to be out there. So trying to understand what are the things that get you. One of the things I look for is motivation. Like if you feel like your motivation going down, you're starting to get dehydrated, managing your fluid intake over the course of the race and what's my right electrolyte levels so that I'm managing that properly. That's really, really key. And then getting out for those long days when it's hot. I mean, we used to, I train a lot of people in New York City, and when we get towards the end of the year looking at Hawaii, there was a lot of people, riding indoor trainers with winter hats on and winter coats and just trying to mentally prepare for the challenge ahead.
Oh, that's great advice, and I just want to validate, just so everyone knows, Didi and I did say two good things. Earl just said we have said two good things today, and so this 4 hours in, I'm happy with that stat. So Earl, here's a question, a little bit different. We're back to racing. Talk to us real quick about return to racing this year and how great it is for us to be able to get out and experience our amazing community of Ironman athletes.
Well, I tell you, one of the things that, crisis makes us stronger, right? So we've all been through this crisis for the last year. And as part of my job, I work with our Ironman U certified coaches. And one of the great things that's come out of this is there's a lot more communication with our coaching group, our tri-clubs, and really trying to understand what are their challenges during the pandemic. And now the exciting thing is seeing them break through, just like an athlete breaks through, a difficult training session. Our coaches in our clubs are breaking out and trying to find and starting to hit their stride. We're finding more people are joining clubs, more people are getting involved and looking for motivation. More people are reaching out to coaches and saying, I'm watching Coeur d'Alene, it's 100 degrees. How do I prepare myself for a race that might be this hot? So it's actually, we're kind of turning the corner here, and it's incredibly exciting to hear the stories about, clubs that have used the virtual racing. It's like watching Laura Brandon and Big Mets, like they were VR stars. You guys know that very well. It's awesome to see them racing. So it's almost like tying it all together so that we can hit our stride now and really get through this next half of the year, as a big community, which is really fun.
And Earl, as we talk about getting back to racing, what are you hearing from Ironman U coaches and returning to racing and their excitement about getting back to the community that we all love and the race courses that we've all missed so very much?
Well, that's one of the really amazing things. We had last week we had our tri-club championships at Eagleman 70.3. We have another tri-club championship today at 70.3 Lubbock. And Coeur d'Alene, which is, Coeur d'Alene was my last Ironman race. Like the community of Coeur d'Alene, like when you walk into a race community on race week, like that Thursday, Friday, you can just feel the vibe. And the people that come out and support it, from the local bike shop to the local restaurants, everybody loves it. everybody talks about how great it is. It's like coming home. Like if you've been doing this, or even if you haven't, it's like walking back home to this like great, comfortable place, and which is hard to say, like a transition area, not always your most comfortable place, right? But now you're walking in, you're like, these are my friends, these are my people, and it's an amazing feeling right now. And the coaches are super excited because, to be honest, like they're running small businesses, and when you work with a local coach and you give them your business and you work with them, like they're more invested than ever in your success. So it's definitely been a welcome change.
That's a great answer, Earl. Well said. And I feel that same thing. Just looking at Coeur d'Alene makes me get that warm feeling of coming back home. So great point. I'll ask you this, kind of one final question for you, and you can go anywhere with this, but tell us kind of what 2021 looks like to you. You got something coming up personally, jump on a start line, athletes, anything you want to say?
I think what's exciting for us this year, we've got a couple of things. With Ironman U, we have our educational course that we use. So we're redoing the whole Ironman U course, which is really exciting. We're working with some of our expert level coaches, our master coaches, to create new education for athletes so they can better prepare for races. Ultimately, everything we do is about making sure that athletes are prepared to have this great, amazing race day. So that's really exciting for us, from our business side of things. For me personally, like I'm just getting back in the pool. So it's been a while for me to be out of the pool. So I had one of my first swim workouts yesterday in a long time. So I'm still stretching my shoulders out a little bit today.
Excellent.
They tell me, Earl, that swimming is just like riding a bike. You never forget how. So keep the faith.
I'm gonna keep that in mind as I go, as I struggle through it. But yeah, it's good to be back in every way.
Oh, absolutely. And your first part of your answer, you're pretty busy, so obviously there's no Ironman coming right up.
Not this year.
That's great. Earl Walton, Global Director of Coaching and Training. So good to see you, and we appreciate your comments and taking the time to be here with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. Enjoy the race. Keep up the excitement.
We will. I'm going to hit a Morton gel, say thanks, Earl. See you next time.